My name is Stan Lawrence, and I was the musical director for Comedy of Errors, and played Dr. Pinch and First Merchant.
My name is Jack Kingsley, and I wrote a song for the comedy, and also played some music with Stan.
Jack, talk about the speech. So Jack had an Antipholus of Syracuse speech, and I said I need a Bob Dylan style folk song.
Yeah, in this particular case, it was a long speech, and she basically told me to get the feeling of it in a song with simple language and using lingo of the day, of the late 60s, which I'm familiar with. And I even looked up some that I wasn't even so familiar with, or didn't use myself. Maybe Stan did, but not me.
like
I
hey,
forget.
babe. And then mom.
Or even Lay It On Me.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I never said that. But so it was kind of fun in that regard. It was easy. It was made easy because I could, it's all about understanding what's being said and then just translating it. And I used a couple of lines, I think, directly from the speech. So that worked out nicely because you had something that really was in it. It wasn't like I just made something completely up in that regard. And it wasn't even I had the fortune of not having to write a country song because I don't necessarily write country songs. But she said she wanted something that sounded Bob Dylan-ish or Dylan-esque, and I'm very familiar with that.
So what of Shakespeare's words did you put in your song?
I used the phrase, sweet mistress. Sweet mistress. I don't know your name.
Those are the first two words of the speech.
The first two words? But did he say, I don't know your name?
Yeah, I think so.
So
Sweet
that
mistress,
I took.
I don't know your name.
Sweet mistress, I don't know your name. And then I just went ahead and improvised from that point. And then the chorus. In the chorus it says, teach me, dear creature, how to think and speak. Which is kind of I think that's the name of the speech, isn't it? If it were given a name, that would be the name of the speech.
No. I was terrified of all of how they would be received, all of them, and but everybody involved in making those songs come alive did such a splendid job of making them, available to everybody that it really is hard to choose a favorite. Well, I think it's always a kind of what do they call it? Case-by-case scenario you're dealing with. You either succeed with it or you don't. And to the extent that you succeed with it, then it's important. If you don't, well, then it's not so important.
It depends. I mean, if you're talking about songs, certain songs or even films or something, sometimes they're just perfect as they were, and I wish they wouldn't be remade. If they're going to be remade, they need to be reinterpreted and done much differently. And especially in the case of what Denise is doing, she's reinterpreting a play that has been reinterpreted God knows how many times, and that's a huge challenge. But I think it's important to make it relevant to today's audiences, to the world we live in today, and Shakespeare is always relevant. It's always going to be relevant. But how do you interpret it so that audiences today can absorb it?
This particular comedy is so frequently just written off as a farce, but I saw it as a story about a family that had been separated and reunited. So to me, that gives it a whole lot more heart and more meaning, more reason to tell it, because so many families nowadays are separated or pulled apart. And so a musical theme that we derived actually from the play is what goes around comes around. And the idea that even as this family was separated and they kept moving farther and farther away from each other, eventually they all ended up back together again. So there's reason like that to examine old literature and say, oh, humans were going through exactly what humans are still going through 400 years ago, 2,000 years ago. We really haven't changed that much.
We received a sheet from Denise early on in the production, and with specific even titles and specific subject matter. I didn't always get it right, but it was a very, very specific guideline for writing the songs, which was really helpful, certainly helpful to me.
In most cases, the songs have replaced speeches or certain scenes. So Stan, who wrote 4 of the 8 songs in the show, really rose to the occasion and incorporated really important plot points and character advancement in his songs. So just like musical theater, the songs in this play really advance the plot and enhance the characters. Mm-hmm.